Hirsch was just in town. So apparently they're based, but when writers base it on a character, that's just where you start.
Right.
And then you go on from there.
So it was partially autobiographical then, because Ham Grade was the character.
Oh, absolutely. You know the line at the end where he says, won't you come and pray with me? I'm davening mincha.
Yes.
Come and pray with me. So a friend of mine studied with Chaim Grada in Harvard. And we spent some time together. And I said, what do you remember about your time with Grada? He said, he influenced me more than anyone in my life. He was apparently extraordinarily brilliant, and you can see really a man of great depth. And he said, I remember once we were walking, he tells me the story, we were walking in Harvard, and we walked past Chabad House, and some Chabadnik ran out and said, Medafet Center, we need a 10th man. Can you join us? And Grada said, I've already prayed. And the line was, Rebbe, he said, I'm amazed that you prayed. He said, yeah, I prayed. 1943.
Right.
So it's an actual Grada.
So Grada was a survivor himself.
Sorry?
Grada was a survivor.
Yes. Oh yeah. I wanted to mention that even though these characters are from his short story, the short story really deals with the arguments. The backstory about what happened to them, what happened to their wives, where Chaim talks about, or Hirsch talks about, the father asking for forgiveness, and he never gave him. I made all of that up. That's not in the short story. So I gave the characters were given flesh by me, actually, because I realized that if I just did the short story, it would be about the argument,
Right.
and that would keep people in their seats for maybe 10 minutes, because after a while that gets very, very heavy, very turgid. But what really keeps people in the seat is arguments. Will they ever get together? Will these people reconcile?
Right.
That's really the part. Yes.
I have so many questions, I'm not sure where I can start. But
Go ahead.
this is a timeless story. This didn't start in the 1940s.
Correct.
This began at Sinus Kingdom. This began with, Tisha B'Av is coming. So you've been speaking about this since 1991, when this first came out. What answers have you heard to this problem? To the problem of our not being able to get along, looking down on the other, and so forth. What answers have you heard?
Are you trying to start a fight with me? No one has answers. I mean, part of it is these two characters and these two dispositions are really just the opposite side of the same coin. They can't live alone and they can't live apart, because they're inextricably bound together. And it's in the trying to resolve this, I think that Jews find a lot of life, a lot of inspiration, a lot of beauty. It's not a bad thing in some ways. It can be painful, but it's not a terrible, because there's no answer to these.
Rings true today. I mean, it's the intellectuals who are the most anti-Semitic today, and the same kind of rational arguments. So it rings true. It's timeless.
Well, I think I certainly agree with you, and also I think we're suffering from the lack of God.
Yes.
In the society.
Why did you set it in Montreal?
Sorry?
Why did you set it in Montreal?
The story takes place in 3 locations. It takes place in Poland, it takes place in Paris, and it takes place, I don't remember where the third place is. But I had a limited budget, and I got money from the Quebec government.
Not anymore.
And I knew that I knew those characters. I'm from Montreal, near Montreal. So I knew the place, and those characters could have lived there as much as they lived in New York, you know. And in fact, before we shot, there were Montreal was a very, very rich Jewish community, with a lot of intellectuals and a lot of writers. And a friend of mine, Ruth Weiss, knew all of them.
Right.
And I told her I was going to make this film, and she said, "Come in, and I will introduce you to all the living Swedish writers." So I took Chaim. You know, I took him around because he's not Jewish; he's Episcopalian. So I said, you know, come with me. Sorry.
Who's Chaim? The writer?
No, the actor.
Oh, the actor.
Played Chaim. He's
In real life.
yeah, he's an Episcopalian. So I said, come with me, and I'll introduce you to these people. So we went to, I don't remember how many, there weren't that many, maybe 5 or 6 left. And we spent an afternoon with each and every one of them. And what was wonderful, very warm, they were so happy to have people ask them about their work and about their life. They all served cake. They all served tea and cake. And at the end of it, and we actually spent the Tisha B'Av together just before we started to shoot. So it was exactly this time of year.
Wow.
And I remember after we came back from shul, I took him to a little shtiebel. And I remember when we came back from shul, he said, you know, David, I have it all figured out. I understand Judaism really well now. He said, it really helped me, and I understand it. And I said, well, tell me what you understand. Maybe I'll understand more myself. And so he gave me this kind of understanding, which wasn't Judaism, but he was clearly touched by it. And he was kind of taking his own Christian background and trying to mix it in. And it was obviously very meaningful, but it wasn't Judaism. And I said to him, you got it. That's great. You're ready. You're inspired and ready to go. And it worked for you.
I didn't understand the purpose of that rain shower. What was that supposed to show?
Oh, that's interesting. You know, one of the things in Montreal is that the weather is unpredictable. And so we built a set, or we chose a set, we didn't build it, but that hut that they ended, we needed what's called a cover set. And so the day that it rained, we shot that scene.
Oh my God.
And the actors knew ahead of time that when it's raining, that's the scene we're going to shoot, because we need to shoot it inside. The rest of the movie is outside. So that's why we chose it.
Because you shot it outside, so you had to have a story that could incorporate the rain if it rained? Is that what you're saying?
No, we were taking the weather into account.
Oh, okay.
So if it rained, we knew it would rain, we just didn't know when.
I see.
So you have 14, when you shoot, you have 14 days, because every day costs a lot of money.
Okay.
And so that one day that it's going to rain, you can't say, oh, well, we'll just sit it out. You have to work. Yes.
Was the apple in the inside the hut, was that part of the short story, or was that something you added for Rosh Hashanah, so he would have an apple in his pocket?
I'm sorry, was it which?
The apple, when it was raining and they took out the apple on Rosh Hashanah.
Oh, yeah.
Was that part of the short story, or did you add that in?
No, we added it.
For Rosh Hashanah? That's
Yeah,
nice.
we added it for, exactly. Yeah.
Was there a hard time like casting not like Jewish people? Like why go for
I'm sorry?
was it hard to cast Jewish people or like why casting like non-Jew then you have to like teach him different things
Yeah.
about it?
So I thought about it, in the beginning, I thought to myself, this is so deeply Jewish in so many ways. I have to cast Jewish actors that I can't cast non. So we started in Los Angeles. I was casting. We held casting sessions, and I had a casting director, and they sent all these actors to read. And in fact, there's my wife in the back. she read with, she's an actress. Yeah, she read with many of these actors, most of them, in the casting. And they were, a lot of the Jews were Jews, you would recognize them, they were big names in television. You know, they all, and they wanted to do this piece more than anything. This was going to be sort of their tribute to their father, their mother, his grandfather, the deli, whatever it is. This is very Jewish for them. It was very important. But I could see as I talked to them about it, that the fact that they didn't, and they knew nothing, they knew absolutely nothing. They knew about their family sort of going to the deli Sunday morning. That's what they knew. And a big meal on Pesach. You know, but there was, it didn't go any deeper than that. But it was meaningful. It's not that it wasn't meaningful, but it got in the way. As I'm talking to them, I realized it got in the way of connecting up with these characters. Because these are different. This is different. This is where their parents came from this, but this is a different generation and a much different sensibility. And so I realized maybe I have to go beyond a Jewish actor. And then I knew Saul, you know, who plays the rabbi. And he wanted to do it from the very beginning. He was very secular, but he speaks Yiddish. You know, his parents were survivors. So he knew the ground very, very well. So we ended up with Saul, and then he called me and said, you know, I have this friend. He's a wonderful Canadian actor. I think he should do the other part. And so we read him, and the director was there, I was there. And he was terrific. So we cast him. He was absolutely terrific.
I'm sorry, I have another, like, how did you get to being a writer? And how did you get to being a writer and, like, your Hollywood, I mean, are you based in Hollywood?
Yeah.
How did you get there? And, like, how are they okay with approving the movie? How are they, I don't know, Hollywood or Canada, how are they good with okaying the movie?
How did it
Yeah, basically your Hollywood experience and how Hollywood was okay with a movie like this, which is like very Jewish.
Well, one thing that may surprise you is that Hollywood loves movies like this. They love movies of the heart, and they love movies that have soul, and they love movies that connect up deeply. So that the studios don't make these movies because these movies simply don't make a lot of money. But they love this, and every producer in Hollywood has a script of the Dybbuk in his you know, in his desk that he desperately wants to make. So that part, it's interesting. As crass as you probably think Hollywood is, and it is, there is also a very deep, sensitive bunch of artists that are running around that are looking for truth and that are looking for beauty and trying to connect up with meaningful stories. So that part, I got a tremendous response from, you know, a lot of producers, for example. You know, and the question was, how did you do it? How did you make that? Where did you get the money? But I started out, I'm from Canada, from a small town, and it's a long story, but the brief part of it is I started off as a journalist in television. I was an on-air journalist in CGOH and then CBC TV in Ottawa. And but I was always interested in drama because I was in summer camp. I used to direct and write these dramatic pieces in Hebrew. Actually, I went to a Hebrew-speaking summer camp. So that's where I sort of got the inspiration to be in drama. And then at a certain point, I was making, you know, I was interviewing people, I was doing news stories, and I was doing little pocket documentaries. But at a certain point, I thought, you know, if I'm ever going to do it, I've got to do it now. And so I applied to the UCLA Film School. So I came to LA and joined, And then I started writing and I just stayed, because I started selling. And usually you have to wait a long time, but I was able to sell right away.
Do you have any other screenplays you've written with Jewish themes like this?
No.
Is this the only
There's one, I wrote for a show called Fraggle Rock, you know that?
Oh, yeah.
You know that?
Yes.
So I was one of the writers on Fraggle Rock, and one of the episodes is called Capture the Moon, and it's about these guys, these Muppet-type characters, who are trying to capture the moon. And they thought, well, the way I can capture the moon is I can see it in a barrel of water. And so when the moon comes out and goes to the barrel, I'll simply put a cover on the barrel and I will have captured the moon. And then we can have light any night we want. So that was
Chelm.
based on
Stories of Chelm.
a Yiddish short story.
Oh,
You know, about those characters from film.
Yeah.
It's a film story. I don't know if you know, they're kind of these foolish characters.
So just so I understand, at the end of the movie, neither of them really changed
Neither changed?
their point of view. I mean, they had this long discussion, they,
Right.
you know,
Yeah. I don't think the point is, you can't change anything. So I don't think the point is to change. The point is to touch another person.
the point is
Is
to
to
touch
touch
them.
another person. It's almost impossible to change someone else. Just ask my wife. Yeah.
This might be too much conjecture, but do you think proposing a film like this now, post-October 7th, would have gotten acceptance in Hollywood or Canada, Montreal?
Would people,
Well, given the climate right now with everything post-October 7th, do you think that it would have been as easy as it was in the 90s? Would it have been possible today even?
to show a film like this
To actually write and to release the film now, like in, yeah,
That's a really good question. I have no idea.
I know, I'm just.
I'd love to find out, actually. That's a very.
Maybe on Netflix or Prime, but I can't.
Yes.
So, is the film available? I mean, is it on the internet? How do we get a copy of the film?
Yeah, well, it's all streaming now.
Okay.
And there is an address, a URL, and you go on, and then it's $12.50 for 3 days.
Oh, okay. The reason I asked the question because I would like to think this is the kind of film that should be shown to every Jewish educational facility and have youngsters be talking about this and bring out, like you said, not here to change anybody, but bring out the conversation. How do we become one instead of attacking each other?
Right.
I'd love to see that happen. I'd love to see every school also show this.
Yeah, no, I know a lot of schools do show it. A lot of universities. I know it's taught in a lot of universities.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes.
I noticed when I was looking to see if it was on either Netflix or Prime, Amazon Prime, and I did not see it there.
You're right. It's not there.
And I thought to myself, I wonder why they don't, it's not there, and people can't go there and see the movie. I was wondering what your answer is to that.
Yeah, so what happened was, it was really a financial matter. In order to get the last $250,000 for the film, to make the film, I sold the rights to a show called American Playhouse. It's no longer on now in PBS. But they kept the rights. They had the distribution rights for 5 years exclusively. And so we were unable to make a deal at that time.
Is it on HiFlix? HiFlix, the streaming service.
Yeah. No, there are many services we can get it on now. We're looking into that now.
Yeah.
While filming this movie, was there a specific scene that especially tugged at your emotional heartstrings that you started to be emotional to film?
lot of the stuff that I got came out of my own therapy. And so some of my best lines ended up in the movie. And I've always been interested in this sort of thing. The whole thing, I think the last scene more than anything really touches me. I mean, I've seen the film a million times, and watching it here, you know, we came in over late, but that last scene really got me. Sometimes it's hard to remember that I actually wrote it.
Something
Wow.
you gave birth to.
Sorry?
Something to which you gave birth.
Right,
Your child.
yes.
So I gather the director was very faithful to your script.
Yeah, he's Israeli, and very sensitive. He's from the theater, actually. He's made some wonderful movies, but he's a theater guy. And when he came in, he actually had some great suggestions. And that's what happened. I mean, it's a collaborative film.
Yeah.
So he said, you know, the final scene, pre-final scene, where they're sitting on the bench and they're each confessing. So I remember when we talked, so I hired him, he came out from Israel, and we were going to shoot in a few weeks. And he said, you know, everybody carries a secret. He said, these people carry a secret, and they have to reveal those secrets at the end. And that's where that came from. You know, he was absolutely right.
Yeah.
I said, you're absolutely right. I know just what to do. And that's where it came from. That people carry secrets that they don't want to divulge very easily.
Do you have a yeshiva background at all? Did you raise Orthodox?
From
I was
Montreal.
raised, it's called Montreal Orthodox. Montreal Orthodox is that you go to shul, Shabbos in the morning, and in the afternoon you go to factories to buy pants retail. Wholesale. It's sort of, it's very like South African, very Sephardic, but there seemed to be no contradiction. I'm from a small town, and my father particularly, both my father and my mother, both of whom are from Europe, felt that since we were brought up in a small town, he owed us a Jewish education. And so first he tried to bring teachers out, and that didn't work out. And so my brother and I would go every Shabbat to a different teacher's house, and I would stay over for Shabbat, and we would learn Friday, we'd eat Friday night, go to shul, eat, have a lesson, I have a lesson, then Shabbat in the morning I go to shul, and then I would have another lesson, and then I'd have the afternoon off, and then, you know, Saturday after Shabbat I'd have a final lesson, and then I'd go home. And my brother and I did this from the age of like 7.
Until when?
Sorry?
7 until when?
Oh, until I went to college. Into high school.
I was in Montreal most of May. My son lives there, and it would be a story in itself if we were to try to make that film in Montreal today. A story in itself, if you were to try to make this film in Montreal today. It's not in French. It's too Jewish. It would just be an odd story if you were to try to make it in Montreal
Why do you
today.
think you do that?
There's very little left of the Jewish community there. It would be interesting to see how people would react to a film about the Jewish community.
Oh, well, I didn't really need the Jewish community. I needed some see the Scottish styles.
Yeah.
I didn't really need much.
Because of the OQLF, the Office of Language Compliance.
Yeah, I don't know, because it's bringing money into the province.
Right,
So
right.
that's good enough.
If you grew up with Ruth's wife, and she grew up in Montreal, and whether she had much of an influence in the direction of this film.
She had really no direction other than introducing me to these writers. She went to the same summer camp that I went to. This is my son. She's much older than I am. But she went to the same summer camp. And so she knew about me, and of course I knew about her. She was very well known. And when I called her up, I said, "Oh, we went to the sun together," she said, "Oh yeah, I remember."
My dad was there in 1950. My father was there in 1950.
In Massage?
Yeah.
What's his name?
Bernie Gross. He was a dishwasher.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he said it was much more fun than being a camper or a counselor.
If I can ask a quick question. Oh. Just a quick question. Any advice for any aspiring writers, especially of Jewish content, going forward, especially in today's climate?
Yeah, you have to keep writing. It's all about, it's not about how people see your work, but it's about how you allow yourself to get deeper and deeper and deeper into the content. And for any writer, it's not in the writing, it's always in the rewriting. The writing is the easy part. The hard part is to just slog through and make sure that the ideas are right and well developed, characters are well developed. So it's like you're constantly burnishing the stone, constantly.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.